Minifigures, Lego. You gotta love Lego. My kids love it. They love Technic, Lego Friends, and the Lego City. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to draw some little minifigures in easy to follow steps. And hey, thanks for joining me. I've just clicked over 1,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for that. And today's video, I'm super excited, so let's get started. I'm just going to flick my camera around and we'll start drawing. All you're going to need is a pencil, some paper, maybe a black outliner and some colors. All right, let's go. So you can see here I've got some minifigures, and how cool are they these days? They've got lots of different expressions on their faces, and one of my favorites used to be the spaceman. Okay, how do we go? We're going to start with a simple minifigure shape, and we're going to turn it into Emmett on the first one, and then we're going to turn one into a girl, and then we're going to have a go at our own later on. Okay, so starting with this minifigure, we're going to look at the head, and we're going to draw a light square shape. The size of the head, a light square shape. Now we're going to draw it a square shape because it is just rounded there. Now in the chat today, you're welcome to say hello and I can give you a shout out, and I'll ask some questions. If you've got any questions, let me know. Once we've drawn that light square, and I'm using a HB pencil, we can do some little rounded corners because the face of the minifigures are rounded. Now we can put a hat or some hair on later, so we might leave the little joining part off. Now if we look at the body compared to the head, we can see that the body is slightly taller. So what we have to do is we're going to draw another little line down here and across, and then back up for the neck. And then this shape here is not quite a rectangle. It comes across out to the side of the head there, and then on a bit of an angle coming out, longer than that, and then it comes a straight line across, and we do the same on the other side. We bring it down and across. Now remember, all drawing is practice. The more we draw this figure, the better we're going to get at it. So I may just slightly zoom in on that a little bit so we can get rid of those little minifigures and we can concentrate on the drawing. Okay, so the next part we're going to do is this little rectangle here. But before we do that, actually, let's put that little rectangle on, just a thin rectangle underneath. This is the start of the legs. And what I'm going to do now is do what we call a guideline, or a line of symmetry. Now that's a really light line that we're going to rub out later on. We want our minifigure to be exactly the same on both sides. So that's why I've drawn that. Now I'm going to bring a line straight down here. Let's have a look at the legs compared to the body. If I measure the body, see how I'm putting the pencil on the top there and there, the legs are actually longer. So I'm going to need to make mine down to about here. So I'm just putting a line for where the bottom of the legs are going to be. So bring that out and bring that down. That's this outer edge, outer edge. Now we're going to bring this line down and across and back up like so. Then we're going to bring a straight line across each side from there. So that's this line. And then we're going to draw the feet. So today's video, we are actually drawing the front on of a minifigure, because once we get to like Emmett in this picture, when we do side semi profile and we can see the side and the front, it gets really complex. So we're just starting with a basic Lego minifigure at the moment. Now we're going to draw the arms. So let's start with see this circle for the hand. So I'm going to put the hand about, see how it's just underneath there. So I'm going to put a circle for the hand there, and the same for the other side. So a circle. Don't worry if you make a mistake. It's all learning, and we can rub out if you've got a rubber. I've got this cool little pencil rubber. with a little brush on the end so I can rub out some finer areas. If you like them, I've got a link in the description for those later on. Okay, so now we've got to put the arm coming up. So a couple of little lines off there and a curve line. We'll do the same on the other side. 2 straight lines coming up and then a curve it up. That's this part here. Now we need to draw an oval shape that comes around like that. That's going to be this part here. So an oval shape. And an oval shape over here as well. Now, because we're drawing in pencil, if there's anything that you want to change later, you can. Now you can see that this comes up straight up, and then it curves back in and around there. And then if you want to, you can have a little line coming up like that, because the arms are quite cylindrical. And the same for this one, comes straight up. And we try to do it the same on both sides. Now if I'm going a little bit too fast for you, what you can do is pause it and catch up, but there is a basic minifigure shape. Now you can see that what we can do is we can, let's finish off the hands first and then we'll add some of the features on. We're going to turn this minifigure into Emmett from the movie. Totally awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to make the hand slightly different. So I'm going to put two little lines and then curve it around like that. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So 2 little bits where it opens up and then curve it around like so. Now if you want to, you can put that secondary curve in that you can see just inside there to make it look a little bit 3D. So these arms are sort of slightly coming towards you. Now, if we look at Emmett here, we can see that, remember, all drawings are made up of lines and shapes, and so far I've used the square for the head, a rectangle for this part, some straight lines, some curved lines, some circles to plan the hands, etc. Now we're going to turn this into Emmett, so let's put some hair on. So about halfway down the side of the head, we're going to come up, and then we're going to put his fringe on that comes across like this. So his hair will sit up, and then we're going to draw another part this side coming down. And then we're going to bring a line out like this. And a little bump there. And then it's going to curve around here. So a big curve like this. Now, on my little Emmett minifigure, he's got a little bit of a hair bump there, so we're just going to put a little bit of a bump there for Emmett's hair. Now you can see it's starting to take shape. It's looking pretty good. All right, we can see that on his worker's jacket, he's got a line through the middle. So we're going to keep this line that we drew, and then we're going to come out for his shirt. So he's got like a vest on, a high-vis vest. All workers should wear those. Okay, and then he's got a shirt on underneath. So I'm just going to bring a curve line around like this. And then that's going to come up to the top of there. The same on the other side, that's going to come down like this. And then we're going to have another curve across here. Now, haven't had anyone say hello and, hey Nicholas, how are you, mate? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me. You guys might like to comment what type of Lego is your favourite. There's so many these days. When I was a boy, there was Pirate City Space. Now we have Ninjago, Nexo Knights, Lego Friends, all sorts. The next thing we're going to do is, see this silver strip on his top? We're going to draw a line that comes straight down there and another line straight down. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Another straight line and another straight line. And now if you've seen the movie, the Lego movie with Emmett being the master builder, he's quite cool. And going across, he builds some wacky creations that help them out. Okay, then we've got another straight line coming across here, and that they would flow through to there, but what we can do is I've just draw those on, and then later on we can just rub out those little bits, and you can see how easy this rubber makes it. And we can go on the other side as well. Just rub out those little bits. It's almost like a cross, and then we've got the same that comes down the bottom, so a straight line across, a little bit past, line it up with that, come down, and then come back across like so. So when I like to draw, I like to compare things and line things up and check we call that proportions. Size and proportions makes a huge difference in our drawing. And when you draw, rather than drawing all the details from the start like you might see on some videos where they draw in pen straight away, if you draw using pencil, you have the option to change anything before you colour an outline, instead of wasting so much paper. Okay, now I'm going to rub out, I'm going to rub out that line through there. Now you can see that his jacket's looking good, but he's got some other details here, like a pocket here. So this is going to be a pocket. So I'm going to draw another sort of shape like a rectangle there. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Let's try and keep that the same sort of size. So that's the high vis silver bits. This is a pocket. Now, if I'm looking carefully, I reckon that might be a little radio in there. So we're going to make it a radio. So a little up curved line with a little antenna, like a CB radio. And let's put some little speaker dots on that, just to add some details and make that look like a radio. If you want, I can zoom in on that to show you what that looks like. There you go. We'll just zoom out a little bit more. Now the face. The Lego faces have changed so much. Check out this guy's face. We've got lots of different faces these days. And a lot of the faces, they are almost similar to emojis that we get on our phone. So we could put heaps of different faces on. When we do our own character later, we might put our own cool faces on, and I'll show you that later. But Emmett's pretty happy. So rather than just doing a normal smile, it sort of comes to one side. So a line like so. And then directly above that, he's got one eye, and even on the other side, he's got the other eye there like that. Now we could put some hairline, like some comb over lines in, so we might bring some lines to describe the way his hair is going. So I've put two lines there, not all the way across, and then one there, and that just shows his hairstyle. And there we have a picture of Emmett looking pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline that. So if you've got yourself a black pen, whether it's a Sharpie or what it is, or even a black texter, now's the time to go over your picture. So I'm going to start with the hand. Happy with how that looks. So I'm just going to outline that. So while we're outlining, if you would like to share what your favorite Lego type is, that would be in the chat. You're more than welcome to do that. That would be good. We've got a few shy people who haven't said hello, but that's okay. Thanks for joining me. Remember, if you do like today's video and you've had some fun, if you press like, that would be good. If you haven't done so already and you like to subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. Remember, I'm here to help you guys become better drawers, and a few tips on how to go about drawings is what I like to share. But one of the main things that will make you a better drawer is practice and persistence. But that applies to anything. You've got to practice. If you want to become a better sports person, or whether you want to become a better Lego builder, the more you do it, the better you will get. Okay, so I'm just going over all my lines nicely. I'm using a 0.5 Copic. The reason I like Copic markers is because they, on paper, pretty much nothing moves them. Water will not, they won't bleed with water, which means smudge. And when I use Copic markers, they don't smudge, but the Sharpies do. And I'm just using photocopy paper, and you can see how it hasn't gone through the page onto the table. It won't do that. Whereas a Sharpie can go through. Okay, I'm just going over that. I'm not going to go over these silver bits because that is a, I'm going to do the colour there later. Okay, I'm going to say hi to Macy. Thanks for joining us, Ruby's sister. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying today's video. Okay, just outlining, and I'm doing it slowly, and this is where you can refine any bits that you want to. And you can make thicker areas as well. All right, up, up. Couple of eyeballs here. I used to love building, I reckon space was my favourite Lego type. I used to love building all sorts of different space vehicles with Lego. I remember some of my friends had some really cool space bits and pieces. Nothing like you get these days with all the specialist bits, but they were still pretty cool. Okay, so I'm nearly done Emmett's hair and all his body. Now, I'm going to leave that to dry. So while that's drying, we're going to join, I hope you can follow along, and we're going to draw a girl minifigure now. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing as we did before on here. Now if I slightly change what I'm doing in terms of where I start, there's always more than one way to go about a drawing. Okay, so like before, got the head shape, a little square for the head. Now the reason I don't just go into the details, because sometimes what can happen is if you draw the head too big and then you come down and you might run off the page. Who's ever done that before? Oh, Diana loves Ninjago. Excellent. Okay, so we've got Ninjago is pretty cool. Ari used to have all these ones that you'd spin and they'd fly up in the air. But like all good sets, they get chucked into one big container and then you can make other cool things. Okay, so we've got that first part of the head. We can round that off to make that look like the head. We've got the little rectangle, and now we're going to draw the body. Now you notice that how I'm sketching it out. See how I'm loosely drawing it? If you draw slowly and hard, it's really hard to rub out. But if you are light and bit sketchy, okay, it can help with your drawings. Now let's have a look. Yep, that's out a little bit wider. Bring that down. Now I'm going to show you in a sec a couple of figures, girls that you might want to turn yours into. So we've got a head, body. All right, so the next part is this little rectangle like we did before. And then I'm going to just put this line of symmetry down there. And then we're going to make sure that the legs are taller than this area. So if I measure what I've got, I know that I need to come down further than that for it to look right. So yep, about there. So if I measure that, that is higher than the body. Okay, that's called proportions. All right, I'm just lightly sketching that in. We could even transfer it across if we wanted to keep it the same size as the other picture. We've got this little bit. Now, I hope I'm not going too fast, but if I am, remember you can pause it, you can catch it, you can re-watch it later on. My son loves Lego City. Yes, he's got a fair collection of Lego City. Alright, now it's time for the hands. Remember how we did the hands? We drew a circle first. Sometimes you look at things and you break them down into simple shapes. That's what I like to do. Doesn't matter what I'm drawing, I like to compare things and break things down into simple shapes. Then we've got those two little lines coming off with the half little curve line there. Same on this side. Then I'm going to draw the rest of the arm. So oval shape in and around. If you prefer to draw it like that and then rub that out afterwards, you can. Then we're going to bring the arm up and around. Now you can see that every time I draw, it's going to be slightly different. It's not going to be exactly the same. I'm not a printer. I'm not a robot. I'm a person. So every time it will be slightly different, but it's pretty similar. Okay, now we're going to do another circle in here. Slightly different way this time. Circle and then chop it. Chop, chop, chop. That's the opening. Then I can get my little rubber. Rub that out. Get rid of the marks. And then we're going to do this. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of little girl characters. We have Wonder Woman here, or we have Wild Style. Remember Wild Style from the Lego movie? She's pretty cool. Or Wonder Woman. Who should we draw? Maybe you could vote in the chat who you would like to see me draw out of these two characters, Wonder Woman or Wild Style. And I could probably put them either side. Let's put them either side, and then you could probably have a look at which one I'm going to do. Alright, you can see that they've got some lips on there, and they've got some other eyes with eyelashes and eyebrows. To join in, to continue the theme of the Lego movie, I'm gonna give Wild Style a go. So let's have a look at the face. I'm going to start with the face. So the mouth is sort of roughly there, and it's on a slight angle, so I'm going to draw this little curve first, and then the lips come up, bump, and around like that. And then we're going to go down around like this. Now her eyes are here, so one's there and one's there. Now you can see that there are different, that shape. I've put two circles there, then I've got another circle inside, coloured that in, and now we've got the lashes coming out. You can flick them out like that, and then she's got her eyebrow. Now if you do them too angry, it could look a little bit angry, so I've just tried to make it look nice. Her hair comes down here and then around, and she's got like her hair in like a ponytail up the top there, comes over this side, down, and then curves back around, and you can see that this, let's rub out some of this square head now. If you draw lightly, you can colour that out, no probs. Nicholas likes Lego Friends, they're pretty cool. I'm not sure what, Nicholas, if you saw the Grand Hotel in the background. My daughter loves Lego Friends. Even she plays it sometimes now. Look at these little hair lines as well. Bring them into, see how it goes into that sort of like ponytail area there. If you're doing Wonder Woman, you can keep looking at the picture, but sort of follow along how I've sort of done mine with the work with the face. Okay, let's put this cool ponytail on. Curve around like that, and then back and around and down like so. Cool little shape, that one. And now see how the hair comes around like this and around like so. There we go. Looking pretty good. Now she's got this cool little, almost like a hood on. It's a hoodie I think she's wearing there, but let's bring the hoodie down. So I'm looking at that her slightly side on. Check out that cool character, Mr. Cop, Bad Cop from the movie. It's so funny. And that's an actual Lego Hermione as well. So you can look at all sorts of characters online. You can look at your own minifigures and copy them across. You can even make up your own. So I'm just going to put the hooded jumper on, the hoodie bit on here. So you know how the hoodies have part of the hood coming out and around, and I might just pop that up like so. And the hood would be back behind there. And I'm just going to rub out that part of her there. Keep the brick, the straight edges for the Lego. Now she's got a zip, so the zipper I'm just going to bring straight down like this, and then just do some little bits like that. And if you wanted to, you could put another line through the middle. That's just a bit of extra detail there. Now she's got these cool patterns on her top. I think by the looks of this, it's a WS in graffiti. Who likes graffiti? Some of that's pretty cool. So I'm going to show you how you could do it easily. So you could draw it like a big W like this. There's a big W, see the big W? And then the S sort of comes back down across. So it's almost like a Z, a back to front Z, and then it kicks down, comes down, hits there, and then comes up. So what we could do then is we could thicken that up by doing this, going on the other side of the letter. So I thicken that up. I may zoom in on that a little bit to show you what I'm talking about. Sorry to anyone who's doing Wonder Woman, but you can come back to that. And it's a bit hard to, yep, I think yep, I've got it there. Notice how I drew it once thin, and then you can thicken it up. So I might thicken this up here, comes across. There's a little bit of an area in there, comes down, and then splays out. So WS, funky S, and then we've got this other little pattern in here, so just bring that in. Might be a pocket on her jacket, you know how you can get the pockets that go in the front. And she's got some other cool patterns on here. I'm not sure what that is on her shoe, but we'll put that on. Oh, hang on, sometimes that happens. I forget to zoom out again. Let's move that across. Hey, Abby and Taylor, welcome. Hope you're loving the girls. Okay, and we've got another something here on, not sure what that is, but let's put a little bit of a decoration on there. You could draw a flower or you could draw something else. I'm just making this sort of something else cool that looks a little bit like graffiti. And then she's probably got a bit of something else on her sleeve there. So let's bring down a line like that, and then bring up a little area, bring that out. Now if I am going too fast, like I said before, remember you can pause it, and it will be up later on as well. So I've just made Wild Style looking pretty good. I hope yours is looking great at home, and it's good to see that Nicholas is having a great day. Alright, now, who's ready to come up with their own character? Who thinks they'd like to do that? It's a bit hard to know whether you want to do another one, because I've got two characters here. I've got Emmett and Wild Style from the movie, I reckon we can use our own creativity now and come up with a crazy character. Because look at some of these cool characters. Look at this green-headed dude. We've got some Ninjago characters there. The golden one, I'm not sure of his name. We've got a little race car driver with a Ferrari badge on there. And we've even got some Lego friends. But what I was thinking of we might do is we might look at drawing a minifigure and then putting some different faces on. Check out some of these cool faces that I've got here. Some are like really mean looking. Some of them are surprised. Some of them are angry. Some of them have got glasses. Some of them have got even a bit of 3D growth on them. What do you reckon? I think we should draw in one more, and then I'll show you how to add some colour to Emmett later on. Alright, so I'm just going to get another piece of paper, and if you wanted to make it easier for your next one, I'm not sure whether you can see that, but you can sort of trace that off. If you've already drawn one and you want to trace it off, you can. Or if you want to draw it again, it's up to you. So remember, starting with the square and then the rectangle. I'm just going to quickly draw the basic shape. Sorry if I'm going too fast, but I just want to teach you how quickly you can change the look and the feel of a character by just changing a few lines. So this character here is a Lego minifigure, and I'm just tracing it off. You might like to trace yours, you might like to just keep watching, it's up to you. Now remember, if you haven't hit that like button, make sure you do. And it's great that people are asking questions and talking through chat, which is good. Because we all like drawing. If you've obviously joined us, you obviously love to draw, so that's good. I reckon my drawing's even getting better the more I draw. Okay, so here is a little minifigure I've drawn. Now, let's have a look. So, I'm just going to show you some simple things. I may even use a different sheet that I've got here. I've got a heap of minifigures on this page that I printed out, and you can actually get this off the internet. Most of what I've got here I just found on the internet. Alright, a simple, look at this, one curve and two dots, we have a happy Lego figure. Now if I just change that slightly and I do this, 1, 2 dots and that, and then put a couple of them on, it's now cranky. Okay, so even just some simple lines can change the way your pictures look. Okay, even like adding a little bit on the end there, having a circle, there's a little wink, and then an eyebrow, another eyebrow. Alright, who's going to create their cool minifigure? I'm going to combine some of these minifigures that I've got here and come up with my own. Alright, so Wonder Woman, remember you can pause the video. I'm going to keep her there, but I'm going to look, actually I'll keep her there if you need Wonder Woman. Do you need Wonder Woman, Nicholas? If you do, I'll leave that there. Alright, so this dude, I'm going to put a hat on mine. So if I wanted to put that hat on and he looks like a robber, I would bring the start of the beanie there, and then the head comes up like this. Now you could create your own character, or you could follow along with my character, and then I'm just going to put some little down lines on that. Now he's a bit cranky and he's got sideburns, so I'm going to put some little lines down here for the side of his beard, like a little bit of growth down the side. Look at the little lines. That's little texture. Notice how I'm just doing little tiny dotty lines. And then he might have a bit more, a bit harder then he's going to have a mouth. So I'm going to make him a bit cranky, and he's going to have some more little mustache above his, and then he's going to have one circle for the eye, another circle for the eye, and then he's going to have some eyebrows that come in like this to make him look a bit nasty, a bit mean. Now you don't have to do yours as mean. Oh, okay, sorry. It's Macy. Hey Macy, sorry. That always happens to me. I see the name on the screen of the parent who signed in and I forget. Alright, so there's my little face. You might like to change yours up. You could use one of these other ones. Now imagine if he was wearing, this person was had a disguise on. He could have the Ninjago top. He could have another little top. I could combine him with this. Let's have a look at this little one with some pockets. So I'm going to bring my own little jumper down, a little line like that, and then put a pocket on, across, down and around, and then put some stripes on like that. Okay, and the pants, you could have some, you know, like cargo pants. Who knows what cargo pants are? They're those pants that have so many pockets on them. We could put some more pockets on here. If you wanted to, you could have like a sword hanging out the back, or you could have something else. It's really up to you. A lot of the Lego figures just have sort of like, if you look, they've got some sort of design on the front of their body. Sometimes they have something on the bottom, but a lot of them, a lot of these ones are plain legs. This one's got some cool legs on there. It's almost like armor. So there's a little figure here that I just made up from looking at other Lego figures. You've got lots of these. I would love to see your drawings of your minifigures, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to teach you how to use some color, because this is a technique that I use in a lot of my videos. So if you've watched some of my latest videos, like how to draw Mr. Stumble, or the Jurassic Park logo, or the Thick Shake, or some of my other ones, I've done heaps on Sonics. I think I've got up to like about 150 different characters now, which has been great. And I'm releasing more videos every Wednesday afternoon, every Friday afternoon, and every Saturday morning, different characters. And what I'm doing is I'm putting out, shouting out to people who ask for those videos, but I'm also after requests from people as well. So if you'd like for me to draw something that you would like to know how to draw, that's what I'm here for, to help you guys out. So I'm just getting some texters now. Hi to Sunny. Thanks for joining us, Sunny. I'm looking forward to meeting you in real life at the after school classes this week. All right, I've got some Montmartre Duo markers. First time I've used these. These are just normal textures, but they've got a bit of a brush tip. Now you can see how I'm using my finger to colour in. Well, not using my finger, but I'm using my finger to stop going out from the edge. Imagine being able to colour with your fingers. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Well, you can if you're finger painting. Okay, so I'm colouring in his head yellow. Now it's not the perfect yellow, but it's still pretty good. Where is Emmett? And then I would probably get a brown for his hair. If you've got a brown, you might want to use a brown. I'm going to show you a few little bits and techniques, because if you look at all my videos lately, I don't just colour with text and my Copic markers usually, but I add pencils afterwards, and the difference is it gives you a little bit more texture and a little bit more interest with your colouring. Now when you colour, try to colour along the line. So see how, rather than colouring against that line, see how I turn my texture and I coloured with the longer part? It's much easier. And like I said before, the more you practice your colouring, the better you will get. Now this looks like a pretty bright. Sometimes it's a good idea to test your colours before you actually use them. So, yep, tested this one. Looks like a pretty good orange. So I'm going to notice how I didn't colour in that jacket before because I didn't, draw that line because that's going to be silver and I didn't want a real distinct outline. Sometimes you can use a thinner pen for those sorts of parts. Okay, there we go. That's looking pretty good. That's an orange part there. Is that orange? Yep, that's orange in the pocket as well. Orange up through there. Now, I love to be creative when I play Lego. I do like following the sets, but coming up with your own ideas is so much fun as well. Don't always just have to do the sets. All right, some yellow. Oops, that's a different marker. See what happens when you use markers and you go a little bit too hard, you can get some real fluffy ends and then they're not as good anymore. So you just got to be careful when you're colouring in, that even with any texture that you don't press too hard, because that does not change how much ink comes out of a texture. If you press light or heavy, it's the same. Not when you do, but when you do pencils, obviously it's different. So I'm colouring in Emmett. I'm going to use a blue. Now I'm looking at a light blue. I may just test that out. That blue's not too bad. Let's have a look at this darker blue. As an artist, you've got to make decisions all the time. What colours work well, what looks good. Now, I'm going to use this dark blue because I want to show you something really cool soon with pencils. And well done to those people that are still drawing, because you're going to learn some really cool things now that will help with all your pictures. Doesn't matter what you draw. Okay, colouring in makes a huge difference. Okay, notice how I'm colouring with the long part there, and notice how I'm using my finger here. I'll just go across the bottom to outline. Sometimes I like to do this first, which is to outline the work. This is another tip that people can help you. Okay, like that. So outlining, and then colour with the long part. Now, one thing you do not want to see in your colouring, I mean, I'm pretty fussy. When I was teaching at school and kids would colour in, I'd be always saying no white spaces. That means you can't just colour in like that and leave all those white spaces. That's not colouring in properly. So you got to get all those white spaces, because it looks so much better. Now that looks pretty good. We could colour that with a grey, or if we had a silver pencil or a silver pen, that'd be pretty good. But I'm just going to put these textures away, and while that's drying, I'm going to bring out my colours, pencils, because that looks good, but I'll show you what's going to look even better. This is my little tip to take your drawings from good to great, okay? And that is to add some highlighted sections. So, not sure whether you can see, I've got some lights coming from both sides, but you should, if you can see on here, it's to make it look 3D. There's some light hitting there and there's some darker bits, so we can do that on here. Now this is a rounded arm, so what we would do is if the sun was coming from here or the light was coming from here, we can get a white pencil, and if your texture is dry, it'll go on pretty well. Mine may be slightly wet, but see how I can add a little bit of highlight to there with a light colour. and you'll see that pretty good in my other videos, and you can also add some dark, but the dark's not showing up on there. Let's try using some, so on the face, underneath the hair, it would create a little bit of a shadow, so we could put some either orange, which is next to yellow, or a little bit of like a tanny sort of color. Let's go with a tanny sort of color, and just lightly, this is where you practice your shading, your drawings will become better, because when I practice, and I might as well do it in the background to show you with a pencil, if I do it light, I get light, but as I press harder, it gets harder. If you can practice shading, even with any pencil that you've got, and practice releasing pressure, and pressing harder and lighter, and trying to get that smooth gradation, you will become a great drawer. See, I can do it with a pencil as well. The other thing that controls shading is going over the same area. Look how I'm just layering that up, and it's darker, and then I can lighten that off. And it should be pretty smooth. You can do that too. All right, so light's hitting there, curves around. We can put some shading on this side of the character, underneath the chin. The more I put on, the more you will start to see that this will start looking 3D and start looking really cool. Now I'm putting that there because that is, if you look at the side of that Lego figure, see how it's rounded, and the light hits curved objects differently, so it goes from light to dark. So see how it's white around to darker blue. I'd put darker blue underneath there because the light's coming from the top, but it hits flat surfaces evenly usually. Okay, so I wouldn't really add too much shading to that unless I something was in the way. I might do my little radio silver, and I'm just going to use a light grey for the silver for the reflection of the high-vis vest, just to show you that it looks what you could do. If you've got a silver pencil, you could use a silver pencil. I'm not sure if I've got one in this set. Doesn't appear so. Should have got my metallic pencils from my studio. Okay, you can see how I'm colouring in the long way as well. Okay, keep colouring in. Now the hair looks a little bit flat too, so we could try some highlights in the hair. So see how I've got those black lines? We could put some white in there, or we could put some darker brown in there. So I'm putting some darker brown in now to sort of really get that hair looking like it's got a bit of texture in there. Let me zoom in on that a bit more. I'll zoom in on that. Sometimes it goes a bit too far. Too far. Sorry guys. A bit more out. A bit hard to control. There we are. And you can see that if you were to rewind the video to before adding this shading to now, it's definitely looking better now. If you didn't want to do white on there, we could try the light blue and see if that works. So it all depends on your pencil type. And because the light's hitting there, probably the top of the shoulder would get a bit of light, and maybe on that side. And then we could use a bit of darker blue on here. Now remember guys, if you haven't subscribed and you want to see some more of my videos, that'd be good. If you do, if you want me to draw something, one of your favorite characters, or you're not sure on how to draw something, make sure you comment in one of my videos and request something. Also, if you want your artwork featured in one of my videos as fan art, you're welcome to send it through, and I will put it at the end of one of my videos. You might have seen some people's from the Minions in some of my videos. I've got Minecraft Steve coming soon. I've got a few other characters from requests from people, and that's what I'll be up to. And remember, Wednesdays, Fridays and Saturdays. I'm going to say thanks for joining me today. I hope you've had a great time. We've drawn Emmett, Wild Style, and I did a little bit of a robber there. Okay, remember to keep drawing and keep practicing, and you will become a better drawer. Thanks again, and we will see you next time. Cheers, guys. Bye. I'd wave if he'd wave too if he could. All right, cheers.